Day 3 at Wimbledon was supposed to be the easy one. The day the big names showed up, did their job, and cruised into the weekend. That is not what happened. One by one, the favourites got dragged to the very edge, match point saved, sets thrown away, comebacks from the brink. And here's the twist, by the end of the night, every single one of them was still standing. But the bracket doesn't tell you how close some of them came to disaster. So let's walk through exactly how the biggest names in tennis survived Day 3. Because in the end, a day like this tells you more about the pressure at the very top of the sport than any routine straight sets win ever could. Start with the one that nearly ended in an upset. Coco Gauff, 7th seed, already a two-time Grand Slam champion, was dragged into a third-set tiebreak by Argentina's Solana Sierra, and losing it. Down 7 points to 4, 3 points from packing her bags. And then Gauff did what champions do, she reeled off 6 points in a row, and slammed the door with a 117-mile-an-hour ace on match point. Final score, 6-3, 3-6, 7-6. Now here's why the tennis world latched onto this one. Wimbledon is the one Grand Slam where Gauff has never made it past the 4th round, the so-called curse that follows her onto grass every single summer. And the opponent she just survived? Sierra was the player who, last year, became the first lucky loser in the Open era to reach the women's last 16 here. This was not a gift. What made it land even harder was Gauff's own honesty afterward. In her comments picked up by outlets like Punto de Break, she was strikingly candid about the weight she carries, admitting there are moments she feels she doesn't fully deserve her own success. For a player fighting both a top 10 opponent and her own head, escaping that tiebreak might matter more than the number next to her name. Because for Gauff, Wimbledon has never really been about talent. She has plenty of that. It's been about the mental hurdle of a surface and a stage where the expectation stacks a little higher every summer. Clawing out of a losing tiebreak, on this court, against a proven giant killer, is exactly the kind of win that can quietly turn a fortnight around. Next, the world number 1. Aryna Sabalenka, the top seed, walked out against an unseeded American, McCartney Kessler, and for one set it looked routine. 6-1, barely a contest. Then the second set turned into a fist fight. Kessler pushed her to a tiebreak, Sabalenka had to save 2 set points, and she only closed it out on her third match point, edging the breaker 11-9. The reason this matters goes beyond one scare. Every Grand Slam title Sabalenka owns has come on a hard court. This entire Wimbledon run is really a referendum on one question: can the best player in the world finally translate that power onto grass, the one surface that keeps slipping through her fingers? She didn't hide from it afterward. By her own account, she was genuinely tested and relieved to pass. The number 1 seed is through, but grass keeps asking her the same question, and Day 3 didn't answer it. And the wider picture only sharpens it. Kessler is ranked outside the top 50 and walked out with nothing to lose, while Sabalenka carried all of the pressure. That's the tightrope the world number 1 now walks at every major. Anything short of the final gets written up as a stumble, and grass has historically been the surface where that pressure bites hardest. Then there's the man defending the title. Jannik Sinner, world number 1, the reigning Wimbledon champion, and for the second match in a row, he was made to sweat. Remember, his opening round was a 5-set thriller where he twice climbed out of a set down. On Day 3, against a 29-year-old in Nuno Borges, it was tight again. Sinner couldn't earn a single break point in the entire first set. He had to grind his way through 2 tiebreaks before finally pulling clear, 7-6, 7-6, 6-4. 2 rounds in, the defending champion has not looked untouchable, and that is the conversation now. Is this early tournament rust that he'll shake off as the courts speed up? Or is it a hairline crack that a big server or a hot underdog could one day pry open? The honest answer is, we don't know yet. What we do know is that champions find ways to win ugly, and that's precisely what Sinner is doing. He's not cruising, he's surviving, and so far, that's been enough. And there's a bigger reason every Sinner wobble is getting amplified this year. The man who won this title in 2023 and 2024, Carlos Alcaraz, isn't even in the building. He pulled out of Wimbledon with a wrist injury that's kept him off the tour since April. With the 2-time champion gone, the men's draw has been blown wide open, and that turns up the magnification on exactly how the remaining contenders are moving. So when the defending champion needs 2 tiebreaks to shake off a player like Nuno Borges, people pay attention. In a normal year it's a footnote. This year, with the door ajar, it's a storyline. And then, almost as a rebuke to everyone else, there was Novak Djokovic. While the other favourites were clawing and scrapping, Djokovic simply turned back the clock. Vintage form, complete control, a comfortable dismissal of Stefanos Tsitsipas to march into the third round. He was even gracious about it afterward, acknowledging that Tsitsipas is nowhere near his best form right now. But the moment from Djokovic that actually travelled had nothing to do with his own match. Asked about Serena Williams' return the day before, he offered a genuinely classy tribute, essentially telling fans to savour it because they were watching the greatest of all time step back onto the court. On a day when the sport's younger stars were wobbling, the oldest man in the conversation looked the calmest, played the cleanest, and still found time to hand the spotlight to someone else. Make of that what you will. For a player who spent 2 decades cast as the villain in other people's fairy tales, it was a reminder of how the role has flipped. The elder statesman now, as comfortable saluting a rival's legacy as he is taking an opponent apart. One more to round out the day, and this one comes with a wardrobe change. Naomi Osaka eased through her second-round match and into the third, but at this point, Osaka's walk-on outfits have become an event in their own right. After turning up for round 1 in a Kill Bill-inspired kimono that lit up social media, she dialed it back this time with something far simpler. 4-time Grand Slam champion, quietly stacking wins, and clearly enjoying the theatre of it. After the couple of years she's had, watching Osaka look this comfortable, on grass, of all surfaces, is its own kind of story. It was the quietest survival of the 5, and in some ways the most encouraging. No drama, no wobble, just a former world #1 taking care of business and clearly enjoying herself while she does it. So there it is, 5 of the biggest names in the sport, 5 scares, 5 survivals. But the draw is about to get heavier, and day 4 might be the bigger show. Thursday's centre court is headlined by defending women's champion Iga Swiatek against former finalist Karolina Pliskova, with second seed Elena Rybakina and 2021 finalist Matteo Berrettini also in action. American hopes ride on Taylor Fritz and Frances Tiafoe, while Alexander Zverev anchors court 1. And keep one eye on court 3, because Maya Joint, the 20-year-old who just ended Serena Williams' comeback, is back out there against Alexandra Ela, with a spot in the next round on the line. The favourites scraped through day 3. Day 4 is where the draw starts to bite. There's a home subplot in there too. Britain's Katie Swan takes on Madison Keys with a nation watching, plus the small question of whether defending champion Swiatek can start actually looking like the champion again. So tell me in the comments, does anyone in this field actually look like stopping Sinner and Sabalenka, and who's your pick to lift the trophy?